Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a really cool video for you today, and that's going to be reviewing this inspired Overland rooftop tent. So I'm going to start this review with the 4 biggest benefits of this inspired Overland rooftop tent, or at least the 4 biggest benefits of why I think it's one of the best tents for a Jeep Wrangler TJ. It's a good rooftop tent altogether, but specifically these are my top reasons I think it's perfect for a TJ. Number 1 is the weight. This tent only weighs 87 pounds, and that is very important to me because I use this Jeep for a lot of off-roading and I do not want it to be top heavy. So when you're off-roading or driving down the highway, you can't even tell it's up there, and that is huge to me. Number 2 kind of ties in with number 1, and that's the overall height of this tent. It sits at about 4 inches tall, and again, that's very important when you're off-roading. I do a lot of low clearance stuff, and having this tent sit so low to the rack, I can still get under just about anything I could before. And then on top of that, again, because it sits so low, you don't get a lot of wind noise or drag when you're going down the highway. And I drive this to every trail I do. I drive from Ohio to Utah, Colorado, whatever state I'm going to. So having it have good road manners is very important to me, and not making extra noise or pulling me all over the road is a big deal in my book. Number 3, I would say, is probably pretty important to anyone, but this tent is fairly affordable. I got this on sale for $1,000. I think right now it is being sold for $1,350 or somewhere right around there, so it doesn't break the bank. This is extremely cheap for a rooftop tent. With that said though, I don't think this is a cheaply made tent. I think it's still made pretty well for the price. And then for number 4, another huge thing for me is the ease of setup and taking down of the tent. And this tent can probably be set up in about a minute or less, and then taking down is maybe 2 to 5 minutes if you go really slow. I think what takes the most time is collapsing the ladder, putting the ladder back in the bag, and then putting it back in the tent. It's not a big deal. I've not found anyone with rooftop tents who can put theirs away quicker than I can or set it up quicker than I can. So I have lots of downtime when we get to camp and when we're packing up camp compared to the other guys. After saying that, I'm sure you guys want to see how quickly it goes up, so I'm not going to hold you up or make you skip around the video. Let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to do this in real time for you guys. I'll hit the stopwatch on my phone. So here we go. That's pretty much all there is to it. The ladder's still in the tent, so I can go ahead and grab that out. But even not stopping that, it took about a minute and 5 seconds. So the reason I didn't just go ahead and do the full setup with the ladder and everything is because I want to show you guys those parts individually. Let's start with the ladder. The ladder comes in this bag, which is really nice because if you have the ladder on the outside and it gets dirty, you can stick the ladder back in the bag and then put the ladder back in the tent without getting the tent dirty. So it kind of keeps your whole tent clean and gives you a nice carrying bag. As you can see, my ladder still has some of that red sand and mud from Moab. So it's nice to have that bag, otherwise my whole tent would be sandy right now. But here's the ladder. It has a nice Velcro strap to hold it all together. Drop that, and then You just start pulling up and it auto locks at each layer. So the telescoping ladder is kind of nice because you don't have to max it out, or if you have higher ground on this side, it adjusts so you can actually still kind of have a good angle to climb up. So this is a pretty nice aluminum ladder. It does have a maximum weight of 150 kilograms, which I think is around 330 pounds. And I think that will cover most people who will be sleeping in a rooftop tent. So you do have the ability to mount this ladder to any of the 3 sides of the rooftop tent, which is really nice because you can't always pick the best campsites. So this gives you a lot of flexibility. If you have like a dirty, wet puddle on 1 or 2 sides of it, you just need one clean side and you can hook the ladder up. I opened up 2 of the 3 sides. I left one side closed still because I want to be able to take you guys up there and show you that. But first, let's take a look at the Rainfly here. It's nice to have, but if you can see, it kind of just dips down in the middle. And one little tip that I haven't done yet myself, but I've heard other people do it, is they take where the poles for the Rainfly mount into the bottom of the tent base, they drill those out slightly at an angle. So the posts will go in and then flatten out the top. And I'll climb up there real quick and kind of show you what I mean. So right here, where the post goes into this piece of aluminum, some people drill it in at an angle, so then the arm will actually hold out this way, and they do that for both sides, and it keeps good tension on the Rainfly. And not only does it look better, it just kind of gives you more visibility out of the tent, because if not, this is sitting about right in front of your face. So those little arms that hold the Rainfly open like that, they do actually come with the tent. And then they also have their own bag, kind of like the ladder that they go in. So if they get dirty or wet, you can toss them in that bag and then still store them in the tent, and it keeps everything clean inside. So this side of the tent I still left closed because there are a couple things over here I wanted to show you before I open it up. One of those things is the vent here. Now you have one of these on both sides and the back. So all 3 walls of the tent have this nice little vent in them. They're covered from the top, so even if it's pouring down rain, you can open those and still kind of get a little bit of airflow inside the tent. To open these, they're Velcroed shut, so you just pop the Velcro, and then inside of here, there's this little arm that has a little bit of Velcro on it as well, and you just attach it to that same bit of Velcro that you pulled off a second ago, and then it holds it open just like that. And like I said, it kind of gives it a nice little cover so water can fall off, but still keep it open. And even in strong wind, it's not gonna push that closed. You can get a nice breeze through there that way. And then the other thing I wanted to show you guys from out here is that both sides of the tent have this nice little zippered closed extension cord pass through, or I guess if you had a small heater or something that could run a vent through there, you have that on both sides, and it's got a flap to cover the zipper, and then it has a zipper that you open to run whatever you want in or outside of the tent. Now let's head up inside the tent and I can show you a few things in there. All right, welcome inside the tent. Now I got a few things to go over in here, and let's start with the ladder. So if you look right here, you can see these plastic clips that the ladder locks into. That secures the ladder so you can climb up here safely. The only downside is if you do it on the back here, which honestly I never do, I always use the sides. It blocks these 2 bags you have here, and these bags are actually kind of storage bags, but really they're made so you can take your shoes off when you climb up here and stick them into the bag so you don't get the tent dirty. And you do have 2 sets of these bags because this tent's a 2-person tent. So 1 pair of shoes in here, the other pair in here. So now if you take a look at the side I've already opened over here, you can see this aluminum pole down here. This actually shares the same mounting that the ladder does. So to be able to clip the ladder into either of the 2 sides, you have to lift these poles up, which is really easy to do and actually kind of recommended because these poles are what will keep your tent open. Now, most of the time you won't need it because you do have these gas struts here that hold the tent open decently. But if you're in windy conditions or storms or anything, you definitely want to put these poles up because they really lock the tent open and it cannot shut that way. So let me do my best to hopefully one-handedly show you guys how to do this and hopefully not fall out of the tent. You have this Velcro strap on each one. You just undo the Velcro, and then it's as simple as pulling that up and out of the way. And these are kind of like little telescopic poles, kind of like any pool net. You just twist it to loosen it, and then once you get it to the length you need, you tighten it, and now it won't go in or out. But basically all you would do is have it loose like this, lift it up, And then there's a little metal clip up here that the tip of this slides into. And then you just push it into that clip, tighten it down, and it's locked in place. And then once you do that, if you come back over here, you'll see that you have the place to insert the ladder now. And again, this is on both sides of the tent. Now let's move on to the comfort side of the tent, and we'll start with the mattress. You have a 1.5-inch thick memory foam mattress, which is a little thin, but it's not bad. I prefer sleeping on this over like an air mattress, and honestly is not too uncomfortable. You do also have the ability to either put a thicker mattress in here, or you can kind of layer on top of this mattress, but the cover of this mattress is removable, so you can take this off and wash it if you want, and again, change out the memory foam in the future. This is your mattress, and then you kind of get a little extra padding underneath. This is a kind of web condensation mat, and its whole purpose is to keep the mattress off the bottom of the tent, so a bunch of condensation doesn't form down there and get your mattress all wet. Then for more comfort, they do include all these little storage bags here. There are 9 individual storage bags. My only con with this is they've got it stuck on here with very loose elastic straps, so if you even put 3 pounds of weight in here, the whole thing just sags down right on top of you. It's nice to have. You can put wallet, keys, flashlight, stuff like that up here, but literally just a tiny bit of weight and this thing sags right down on top of you. I would consider that among one of the cons of the tent. You don't have to use it, and it is removable. You can just pop it off, but if it's there, I just wish it had either not elastic straps or a much stronger elastic strap. And on that note, you do have a little more storage right above your head at the front or back of the tent, however you want to look at it. You have 3 more of those same little orange squares up here that you can store stuff in. And then one thing I do really like is up here you have this really strong Velcro strap, and I found that really useful for one, either hanging a lantern, or what I really liked it when I was in Moab is I hung a combination lantern fan. So I had my fan just hanging above me all night, giving me a nice breeze, and then if you needed a light, you could turn on the light. I'll drop the link for that little light fan down in the description for you guys. Since I was kind of complaining about the storage bags, another small complaint I have with this tent is this main front door, the Rainfly here. It zips down on both sides, but it does not have a zipper along the bottom. I know you see this zipper down here. That's actually for the mosquito netting. So that doesn't actually zip the front of the door down, to the front of the tent down. So if it's really windy or cold or anything like that, you can't get a perfect seal up here, which I didn't actually even notice until I was camping in this tent in Moab. And then it was pretty cold and I couldn't seal the tent. It was raining a lot. I didn't get rain in that way, but I don't know. It's just kind of odd to me that there's just not a zipper there, because you can completely seal every other part of this tent, just not the bottom of that. And it kind of has a little hard plastic piece in there, I guess, for the Rainfly, but because it lives its life kind of bent like that, it partially holds that shape. It's not just a straight piece anymore, so it kind of forces a bow at the bottom, and then you have a gap there. Again, not a big deal, but personally, I would like to have the zipper there. Now onto the closed side. I didn't want to open this when you were on time lapse. I wanted to kind of show you this, but this is the mosquito netting. You have this on all sides, so if you're camping in a hot area, you can totally open up the tent and then have the mosquito netting on all the sides, so you can get a really good breeze through the tent, but keep things like bugs and mosquitoes out. So for all of these doors on all 3 sides of the tent, you kind of have these little pins and these little loops here, and those are specifically made to hold up the mosquito netting, hold up the door, or hold up both of them. So you have 2 sets of these little pins and loops. And let me show you real quick how you use that. Once you unzip your mosquito netting, you can just quickly roll it up. Once you get to the top, you'll have these little pins on the inside. Take the pin, take the loop, stick the pin through the loop, and then it holds it in place. And you have 2 of those for the net, and then you have 2 of them for the door too. So now you'll see I have another pin on the inside. The loop is kind of right there on the outside. So once you unzip the door, roll it up the same way, and then you can hold it open just like that. It's a nice simple feature. It kind of gives you a lot of versatility with this small tent to be able to have mosquito nettings open one side with mosquito netting if rain's like sleeting one way. You know, it just Gives you a lot of options, and I like the ability to be able to adjust the tent to the weather or the condition that I'm camping in. So here's a quick look at the tent all opened up on top of my beautiful Jeep. I do really like this tent. I have, I think, just those couple small complaints I've mentioned, but in general, this is pretty nice tent for the money, especially when you're looking for something small and lightweight for something like a TJ. I should also mention that this video is not sponsored at all. I did initially reach out to Ferdinand and Inspired Overland about sponsoring the video, but they were doing their store opening, so they already had the tents lowered in price down to $1,000, so he did not have any interest in sponsoring the video at the time. Maybe if they see this video, maybe they'll give me some kind of code I can give to my subscribers for some sort of discount. Ferdinand, if you're watching this, think about it. So I'll go ahead and take down the tent. I already closed up the doors and stuff. I figured that would be normal, but pretty much by the time you get out of the tent anyway. So I'll show you real quick, putting up the ladder, rolling up the little shoe storage bags, and then actually closing and zipping up the tent. And again, I'll use the timer on my phone. I'll go ahead and start that. So for the ladder, I usually leave it attached, come off of it, and then I just push it up like that, and then pop it out. You have these two little tabs on either side of the ladder rungs. You just push those in, and the ladder collapses at each different layer. There you go. It does close a lot smoother than that, or at least it used to. I haven't rinsed this thing off since being in Moab, and there's just tons of sand on it, so I'm sure that sand's inside of there. And then I like to keep the ladder inside the tent because TJ, zero storage in there. I just slide it into about the middle of the tent, and then I go ahead and finish zipping up the tent. The shoe bags I just kind of stuff up out of the way. And then this little elastic band here, this just kind of helps suck the tent in as you're closing it. And it just clips from one side around to the other. And as you can see, it just kind of sucks the tent in, so all that extra fabric doesn't just fall out the sides. Another thing I really like about this tent is this long adjustable handle, so you can easily close the tent from the ground. And it does help to have it on the outside of that. I just close it slowly as the pistons compress, those little hydraulic arms. You could probably go quicker, I just don't want to force it. Then I just take that strap, tuck it into the tent, clip this to keep it from opening or catching the wind. I walk around the sides and zip it up. Done. 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Probably could have done it quicker if I wasn't stopping to talk to the camera, but really not bad. A couple other notable mentions about the tent. It is kind of a soft tonneau cover style tent. It's not a hard tent, so you got to be a little more careful around sharp things like sticks and branches if you do off-roading like I do. And then another thing that's kind of cool is since I bought this one, they've come out with a tent that they call an XL version, and I think it's 8 inches longer and 2 inches wider. So if you're a little bit bigger than I am, I would recommend getting that tent. I'm about 5'7", 5'8", depending on who asks me, and about 145 pounds. And me and my fiance could both fit in there fairly comfortably. She's even a little bit smaller than I am, so we're not big people, but I couldn't imagine being too much bigger. stuffed in that tent, it would get a little cramped. So be aware of that too. It's a great single person tent as long as you're probably under 6 foot. You'll have to kind of curl up a little bit, but it's not bad. And again, for the price point, I am very happy with this tent. It survived both Utah and Colorado on my big Western expedition I did, which check out that video if you haven't. So honestly, I give it my seal of approval, and for $1,000 or even $1,300, $1,400, whatever it is now, I would buy it every time. I have really no major complaints about this tent. Let me know what you guys think of the tent down in the comments below, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll do the best that I can to answer them. And don't forget to like this video, guys, and if you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. I'm really doing a lot of work to try and grow the channel right now, and it's doing pretty well. And if you are subscribed, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all the support. I'll see you guys on the next one.